Now, during that time, Trump, son of a bitch, was seriously considering getting into presidential politics. And he had his friend Roger Stone's hired hand, this creature named Sam Nunberg. I'm sure you've seen him on television. Listen to thousands of hours of talk radio and report back to Trump about what they were talking about. Trump can't sit still long enough to listen to talk radio. Now, apparently Trump didn't have any strong feelings about immigration at the time, but when he got a strong response at the conservative CPAC gathering that year for saying, quote, "We either have borders or we don't." Ooh, how fucking profound was that? By then he was all in. And he rode his racist anti-immigration horseshit all the way to the White House. And the American people and the American media allowed it to happen. Now, meanwhile, the Republican establishment, of course, you know, the Mitt Romneys and people like that, they were trying to tamp down all this anti-immigration shit because if you remember, after the 2012 presidential campaign, they had what they called an autopsy, why they lost. And it made it very clear that the Republican Party was in grave danger of becoming an all-white party in a country that was becoming less white. Uh-oh. And as Digby writes, the lesson that these right-wing activists like Laura Ingraham took from that was to try to reverse the trend and rid the country of as many people of color as possible. Unfucking believable, huh? And they were joined by a faction in the U.S. Congress, the man who would become Trump's one of his earliest supporters, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III. Yes, sir. And in 2015, Sessions and his aide at the time, this little Nazi Jew, Stephen Miller, yeah, he was working for Jeff Sessions. I have so much problem getting my mind around Stephen Miller. How can you be a fascist and a Jew at the same time in the United States? I realize very possible in Israel, but how do you oh, well. So Stephen Miller drafted a document that laid out a plan to end not only illegal immigration, but also to put a stop to all legal immigration. Now, that was in 2015, and you know, this just popped up again the other day. Remember? I brought it up on this podcast. Stephen Miller, the Nazi Jew, argued that this country could not, his word, absorb any more people from other cultures. Are you fucking kidding me, Stephen? You little bastard. Oh my God, I hate people like that. Stephen pointed to the 1924 Immigration Act, which stopped immigration of most non-whites, Catholics, Jews, Arabs, Southern Italians for several decades. And the little Nazi Jew, Stephen Miller, used that as his model. A document that restricted or limited or eliminated the influx of Jews. And Miller's a Jew. Go figure. And from the moment that Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III signed on with Trump and allowed himself to be humiliated over and over and over again by Trump, it's been clear that Sessions did so because he saw the best opportunity he's ever had to advance his own, Sessions, nativist and racist agenda. You have to understand, if you don't live in the South, the twisted fucking brain of somebody like Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, I don't know, maybe you're not aware of it. You have other things to think about. You live in the West, you live in the Midwest, you live in the East. Southwest, big fucking deal. You know, what's the South? What's the South? Well, the South is what it is. What makes it really, really weird down here is so many people like Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III who are in positions of power. They are racist. And they'll never give it up. Ever. Until they're fucking dead. And even then, if they go to heaven and see a bunch of colored people walking around, they're going to go, fuck this. I'll go to hell. Only white people down there. Eh? So anyway, according to Digby, Sessions has no greater supporter in the effort to clear out the debris in this country and, you know, keep the good white people. He has no greater supporter than Laura Ingraham, who caused a lot of ripples again this week with her rant on her Fox News show, where she attacked both legal and illegal immigrants as, quote, the left's effort to remake America. Bitch, what are you talking about? What are you talking? To remake America. Bitch, it's happening whether you like it or not. Fuck the left, fuck the right. It's happening. It's called demographics, Laura. Something apparently you have no idea what that word means. The bitch went on to describe lurid details about the crimes committed by immigrants, illegal immigrants, undocumented, I hate that word, undocumented immigrants, the same bullshit that Trump dumped when he first opened his pie hole about he was going to run for the president. They're rapists! Remember that? The way Trump commonly tries to paint these people looking for sanctuary, as deviant and subhuman. Now, after more widespread backlash to what the bitch was saying on her toy radio program, she yesterday went on her Fox News show to insist that, quote, here's what she said, despite what some may be contending, I made explicitly clear that my commentary had nothing to do with race or ethnicity. Don't you want to just take a cake of soap and wash your mouth out? That's what my grandma used to do to me. Just wash your mouth out with soap. Because I made explicitly clear that my commentary had nothing to do with race or ethnicity, but rather a shared goal of keeping America safe. And America's citizens safe and prosperous. End quote. Now, as Digby points out, there's no emergency going on. First, border crossings are way below what they were a decade ago. And Trump is the last person on earth to make a case for the rule of law and loyalty to the Constitution, since he demonstrates on a daily basis that he has no respect for either and doesn't understand anything about the Constitution. He has no fucking idea. Nonetheless, Trump's policy is being implemented. The Muslim ban, ICE deportations, the horrifying separation of families at the border, it's all just beginning. NBC News reported this week that Trump's unctuous factotum Stephen Miller, the little Nazi Jew, has written a proposal to, quote, make it harder for legal immigrants to become citizens or get green cards if they've ever used a range of popular welfare programs, including Obamacare. Remember we talked about that, what, Tuesday, Wednesday? The purpose of all that the little Nazi Jew understands this, and since he is inside Trump's head, it's very easy for Miller to explain to Trump that if you reduce the number of immigrants who obtain citizenship and, along with citizenship, the right to vote, if you can reduce that number or eliminate it altogether, that's what the Trump administration calls a win-win situation. They get rid of the coloreds, and they win in politics.